step up and get it. Lace up, face up, I'm here to win it. It's for my city, and the team coming with me. Headed for the championship, even if the road is long. Legends pave the way for us. Since nothing in this world can take it from us. Don't underestimate our generation when you see us coming for ya. And when you knock me down, I'm getting back up. Cause when I step on the floor, you know your time's up. I'm on my way.
Detroit basketball.
YouTube, Pistons fans, NBA basketball fans in general. I'm King. This is my man Deuce. Deuce, what it is?
What up, though?
Man, ready to talk some hoops, man. We pretty much just generalizing today, kicking back, taking our socks off today and talking some NBA basketball. There's rumors going around. There's angles that we want to talk about. There's been some praise for our own personal Detroit Pistons, man. So we're just going to get into it pretty much, man. First and foremost.
Shout out to everybody first. First of all, shout out to everybody who's here. Y'all always show up and show out. And per usual, you do not disappoint tonight. So just want to give y'all some love for sure.
Right. First and foremost, let's talk finals, right?
Let's do it.
Interesting, because even though you called it out about Indiana, right? Got to give you your flowers for that. I don't think anyone expected Indiana to be in the finals right now and up 3-1 in the finals at that.
2-1.
Yeah.
3-1, you calling it early, huh?
Oh, 2-1. I'm sorry, my bad. But it's a lot of us just had the Celtics no matter what.
Yeah.
And we seen how bad that thing crashed and burned, which we'll talk about that team a little bit later. But Indiana up 2-1, OKC having some issues, get some scoring off the bench over there. Just having problems with Indiana. And that's the type of team that Indiana is. They're a scrappy team. You got a lot of talking over there, a lot of motivating. So
yeah,
what's your thoughts on that series so far?
Man, appreciate the shout out. I did not expect Indiana to be in the finals, though. I did expect them to get to the conference finals again. I keep going back to that game late in the season. I think it was the last time we played the Pacers at home. The Legos game. When Stu said you play with Legos, called out Myles Turner, right? But that game, the highlight for me was just watching how they were playing, the way they were executing. We were playing solid defense. We were rotating, but the ball moves faster than the defender. So if you keep moving the ball, you know what I mean? And they just kept knocking down shots. It wasn't for lack of Pistons effort or anything like that. They were playing solid, but Indiana was just playing better. And I was just saying to myself, yeah, this team, I want from that point forward, if you guys remember, I was saying I don't want to play them in the first round because it just seemed like we could have gotten much further had we played someone else, and we almost did. But as far as the series itself, I'm not surprised. I thought they were going to win game one, that being the Pacers. They have a knack for taking home advantage and stealing the first game. And I thought that would happen again when teams are kind of filling each other out. And I thought they would lose game two, and I thought they would win game three. The way it's playing out is kind of how I thought it was going to play out. They just have... So really quick, not to make this too long, because I want to get your thoughts on this too. I feel like with the series, the Thunder are the better team. They have more talent. They're deeper. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the Pacers are more consistent. They're more consistent with how they play, right? And I think if the Thunder, they have lapses. The Thunder have lapses where they get these huge leads and they kind of take their foot off the gas.
Right.
And I think that's the problem. So if they have those lapses and continue to have those lapses, they will lose this series. The Pacers are more consistent. They're not at peak capacity on the Thunder's level, right? But they're going to continue to play their brand of basketball for 48 minutes. So it's going to come down to, can the Thunder lock in enough? Because if they do, I don't think anybody in the league can beat them 4 times in the series.
I totally agree with that. I think, another angle is pretty much is the depth. OKC lacks the depth that Indiana has. We talk about a guy in Mathurin that gave you 27. You know what I'm saying? So they don't really have that coming off the bench with OKC. They're both scrappy teams. They're both, they're on defensive rotations, man. They're very similar. I just think, one, Indiana is more consistent, and two, they're a little bit better built throughout. to be able to withstand some of these teams that we see them face. It was the same thing with the New York Knicks. I just felt like they were a little bit longer when it came to talent. New York was known to be a team that's top heavy. So,
Right.
like I said, it's part of the reason why I want the Detroit Pistons to continue to build the way that they are and keep guys in that second unit that can produce points, because
Facts.
you have to have that. With both of our successful teams, championship eras here, our bench was definitely able to produce defense and offense. So
Strength for sure.
yeah. You just need that, and especially in the Eastern Conference, man, because the East is going back to its old ways. So you got to have that, and Indiana has that right now, and it's an advantage when they're facing these other teams. So yeah, kudos to them for building a hell of a roster over there.
Yeah. Do you who do you have winning this series with it being 2-1? Pacers up right now on the Thunder.
I actually do have Indiana winning this series because of those reasons. They, to me, look like a Pistons built team.
Yeah.
Where you got a Tyrese Halliburton who might give you 14 one night and might give you 30 one night, but at the same time, other guys are stepping up, other guys are doing their part. It's a similar type of style that we like to, live by and play here in Detroit. But it's also a classic Indiana style roster, and I think it's going to carry them all the way throughout this finals.
Real quick, shout out to Rick Carlisle, man. Everywhere he's been successful.
Yep.
His first NBA gig was with our Detroit Pistons for 2 years. Won 50 games both times.
Yeah.
Eastern Conference Finals, right? Second time. Goes to the Mavericks, beats LeBron in the finals. My guy beats him in the finals. Had a hell of a game plan. Goes back to Indiana. Even before that, when he got fired from the Pistons, he went to Indiana for the first time and took them to the conference finals against us. So it's just like, and then here he is again with Indiana again, going back to, trying to win another final. So shout out to him, man. I just want to give him credit. He's been around for a while, and he's always, wherever he's gone, has been successful. So I want to give him kudos for that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I always loved Rick Carlisle, man. Was one of the people that was upset when he left here. But the rest is history, right? So, moving into trade rumors, the NBA trade rumors that's currently going around, it's a lot of them. It's a whole lot.
Oh, man.
It's a whole lot.
To it.
Bleacher Report needs to be disbanded and canceled for some of the stuff they're coming up with. But
bro, it's getting out of control. Did you between Shams? Did you hear what all this Giannis talk about? He wants to stay put and whatever. Today, Giannis came out and said, "Does anybody miss Woj?" He's basically saying, "Bro, that's cap." So it's it's just getting out of control, man. Yeah,
and also Shams is claiming that this offseason is going to be absolutely explosive.
Yeah,
which I hope he's right.
I think it is
right. It's fun for all the fan bases. Something I want to see. So hopefully our team can handle business. But
for sure.
Speaking of the trade talks, Sacramento is one of those teams that's looking for a point guard, and I think that's so ironic that you're watching the point guard that you traded away in the finals right now. You see what I'm saying? Teams like that, bad franchises like that pull a trigger too early on things. It always come back to bite you, and that's why I want the Pistons to be patient with the core that we have and the young roster that we have. I don't want them to just get to pushing buttons and letting guys go too early. Which leads me to talking about one of our own, Jay Knight, because I keep seeing Bleacher Report for some reason. They just have to sprinkle a seasoning of Jaden Ivey in every single trade I see. And I'm so sick of it. You know what I'm saying? No real sources are saying that the Pistons are looking to trade Jaden Ivey. Nope. But it's these little websites, and it's annoying.
Real GM, Trade Machine, 2K, the list goes on. I kind of virtual realities.
I kind of feel like, the Pistons been sending a message as far as social media, man, because they've been posting a lot of his clips and highlights, and pretty much to let you know, like, listen, Ivy ain't going nowhere. We see what his trajectory. We knew what he was about to do last season before that, that freak accident happened. So, even some of the fans, man, we can trade Ivy for this player and that player, package him up in the deal. It's like, come on. This time of the year,
better when he went down. Like, come on, bro. That is so lazy. That is so lazy of an argument. Did you also know where Sark came back when he went down too? Like, come on, bro. We gotta Anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight. You already know.
It's absolute nonsense, man. And you know, the underappreciation of Ivy right now is absurd to me. If you can't see where that young man was getting ready to go, then I don't think you should be watching basketball.
Yeah,
because he is obviously on his way up. I cannot wait to see him grace the court again. Shout out to Eric Vincent, man. He posted a post today with him and with some highlight clips with him and Cade, man, for the short period of time they was able to play together.
Yeah.
But I really do still have a lot of belief in that backcourt.
Bro, I really thought that to give credit to Pistons Twitter and Pistons fans in general, they have been now more so coming around to keeping. I have noticed. I want to shout that out. I have seen more lately. Whenever you see these proposals or whatever tweets, whatever, a lot of more people are shutting it down now. Like, no, let's keep them, keep the court. I'm seeing a lot more of keep the core together, and that makes me feel good. I really thought it was going to be not unanimous, but I thought it was going to be even more so though after the Knicks series, after we saw how much attention Cade was getting. How the game plan was solely focused on everything running through him.
Mm-hmm.
And not just, I thought that gaping hole and that glaring need of another ball handler or playmaker on the court would have been obvious.
Yeah.
Would have been obvious. Like, that's exactly what Jaden Ivey is. That's exactly the kind of player you want. Because Cade is really the only facilitator on the court when he's on the court. There is somebody else who can do the things that he can do as far as multitasking, as far as getting his guys going and getting himself going. Only Jaden is the other guy who can do that. That's why they got shorter. Because when Jaden went down, it was just Cade playing 40 minutes a game.
Right.
So I thought that Knicks series really would have shown everybody, like, okay, yeah, we definitely need somebody who's reliable with the basketball. Asar is good in spot. He makes great plays and he makes really, really bad plays. In the playoffs, you can't turn the ball over, especially against the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you need somebody who's reliable with the basketball. And that's why I thought he would be the perfect fit. I thought everybody would see that. I thought, like, I don't know how it could have been any more clear. That was the silver lining for me of him not playing, was people missing him, not being and seeing he's not available.
Right.
But unfortunately, there's still some out there that really feel like, and it's crazy because they talk about how he's a liability or he's the odd man out, but they're always including him in these trade rumors like he's of value. Like, which is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he really that bad in your eyes, or is he not that good in your eyes, or is he valuable enough, good enough that you always include him in these trade rooms? I don't see the logic in it. I just don't understand. So I don't know, bro. It's kind of mind-boggling to me. But shout out to the fans who are exhibiting more patience and just understanding that things take time. You look at the Thunder, how they're built. It took time. That the continuity. Both of these teams have continuity and camaraderie. They know each other.
Yeah.
They built together. It's just, as talented as you are, when you bring somebody over, you can't sub for that familiarity. It's going to be that grace period that you need, whoever it is. So it's like the more guys you can keep in that camaraderie and consistency, the more fluid your offense and defense is going to look. So like, it's just another reason to keep these guys together and not rush.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's been crazy out there. Speaking of absurd things that we've seen, shout out to you. I want to bring up your Instagram page here. Listen, man, it's been some media personalities that's been throwing the Pistons in certain situations. One of the names that came up was Kevin Durant. Let's take a listen.
KD with Detroit. Ooh. Detroit, imagine that. Yo, this right here, though, got me in three. That got me in trouble. That might have to be higher up. That might have to be higher up.
How does that happen?
That's bringing me back to like old Detroit vibes. KD with K, with K Cunningham. All those young. You understand what I'm saying? With Beasley shooting the threes. I mean, come on now. Come on now. KD.
Same reaction. Same reaction.
Interesting.
You want to go first on this one, or you want me to go first?
Because what I got to say is small, man. I know you're very passionate about how this doesn't work,
man. Okay, look. So look. First of all, shout out to Marcus and Markieff Morris, both ex-Pistons, both played here. Shout out to those guys. No. Let's just start there. Let's just start there. And this is no shade to Kevin Durant, nothing like that. He's still a top player at 37 years old. But the last part of what I said is the most important part. 37 years old. I think bringing him here, depending on what it would take, because I'm hearing it's not going to take as much because it's pretty much definite that he's going to be gone by next week. Yeah. But I don't know if that means the trade's already done or what. But I had heard that the going price for him has dropped as far as what they're looking for and asking for a return. But assuming it's not, you just said it, the core. I'm not moving off of this core. There's only two guys. Let me see. There's probably two guys in the NBA right now who I'd be willing to, if I were Trajan Langdon, go off course for. And what I mean by off course is how he's building this organically through the draft picks that were selected by Troy Weaver that he was able to get, and adding Ron Holland to this team. Those guys, there's only a few guys in this league who I would trade for to go off that course and just build around them completely. Jokic, Giannis. That's literally it. I'm not doing it for Luka. He doesn't play liquid defense as much as he's a great offensive player. I'm not doing it for Shea. We already had that guy in Cade here already, right? I'm not doing it for anybody else. Jason Tatum, LeBron. No, but I'm not really doing that for anybody else other than those two guys, especially Giannis because he's a two-way player, right? But that's pretty much the only guy I would do it for. Or maybe somebody said Wemby. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. But even then,
chat. Make sure y'all chime in while Deuce is talking. Let us know how y'all feel about the situation.
Yeah, those are the really only two guys, bro. I'm willing to change course, right? As far as the identity or whatever you want to call it, as far as building the right way, whatever. But after that, I'm especially not going to do it for a guy who is probably going to be here for no more than a year or two, who also is not available as much as he was when he was younger because of his age. Do you think about our core guys last season? They played a lot of. I think JD played like 70 plus games last year. Our guys played last year. You don't have that much money tied up to a guy who is shown to be injury prone late in his career, who's probably not going to want to be here after his contract is up if he continues to keep playing. So you get 1 or 2 years of KD in those combined years. You get maybe 100 games. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that's what you're hoping for. And there's still a guarantee you don't win. If you're going to do all that, you better win. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to undo everything you've done the last year or two, as far as tearing it all down to build it back up how you want, if you're going to do all that, you're not going to do it for a 37-year-old. I don't care who it is. LeBron, Jordan, KD, nobody. I'm just not doing it. It just does not make sense, and it's very, very short-sighted, in my opinion. That's my take.
If y'all been following me over the years, y'all know what I'm finna say.
Talk about it.
That would be so Pistons.
Old Pistons, but yes.
Yes, so old Pistons. To bring Kevin Durant here at this stage of his career, bro.
Man, what?
Why does it have to be when they're old, broken down, and looking for somewhere to try to save their career? No. Yeah. No, we don't want Kevin Durant at all. He doesn't even fit our mantra here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Kevin Durant is not about to come here and be some type of Pistons defensive type of guy, you know what I'm saying, and buy into what Bickerstaff is selling right now.
Right.
KD wants to go somewhere where he can still control a team at his old ass senior citizen age, which is why you see him in rumors with the Spurs, knowing that Popovich is down over there. You see what I'm saying? Since Popovich is not there anymore, now he figures he most likely can go over there and, hey, I can go over here and get away with shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's where the shipping is tight. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not as tight as it used to be. So it's like he wants to go somewhere where he still has a say, where he can still be in control. No, that's not gonna happen here, buddy. So our number one guy is Cade. No, I was just saying our number one guy is Cade, bro. Yes. And Cade is not even a guy who carries himself that way. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly,
these guys are bought into what Bickerstaff has showed them. I would say not sell, but showed them to be successful, and they're ready to hit the next level. They're not ready to take a step backwards.
Right?
KD away from my damn team.
Yeah, I'm on the same tip, bro. It just doesn't make sense. It's exciting to hear names like that get floated around with our team again. I think that's a big part of it. We're starting to be a respectable team now, and before it wouldn't even be an option. because they know these names would never, ever want to come to a team like ours when we were not winning at all. Like, it's already Detroit, right? But if you're not winning, it's not even make sense. But I think because we're winning now, we're starting to get those names kind of floating around a little bit more. And it's kind of exciting for fans to think what it would be like to have a guy like that. But Fat McKinney said it. We always get stars at the end of the career. And he's 100% right.
Yep.
Iverson, C-Webb, Blake, T-Mac, even McDyess to a lesser extent, because he wasn't the same guy, but he was still good. But yeah, and that's the trap that I think we fall into. The Pistons, organization fell into in the past, was just not understanding he's not going to return to his prime just because he's here.
Yep.
So it happens. I'm just glad that we're moving forward. We're not dealing with that kind of thing anymore, because that would be tragic.
Tragic, man. You mentioned Giannis. A lot been going on with Giannis. You mentioned what happened with Shams earlier. Where do you truly legit see Giannis being? Like, where are some potential landed spots where you can see him going? Because me personally, I think he's going to be out of Milwaukee. Unless they can pull something and get somebody to come there, I think he's going to be gone. You're not going to win there again. Not with that current roster that you have. You have to have another superstar with Giannis, and you need a guard per se. Yeah. And he needs to figure it out, because sooner or later his body's gonna start deceiving him too.
Yeah, I think he just turned 30.
Yeah.
So he's like literally right apex prime. This is where he's at right now. And honestly, bro, like I wouldn't be mad at any answer. Like your answer, I could see it. I could see him staying. I could see him wanting to be those guys that wants to be known for being at one place, like a Kobe, type of thing, like a Dirk. But it's hard to really say, because all these conflicting reports, don't make it any easier to understand what's going on. But as far as what would make sense, I'm not really sure with the cap situations and everything like that. But we've heard the Spurs, we've heard the Rockets, and we've heard the Knicks. Those are pretty much the three teams that I think I've heard. The Knicks would be fun. Him or what Brunson would make, I don't want to see it, because I don't want those two guys. I don't want to have to go against them. Even if we got guys that can bang with them, but still pause. I don't want to see that. Right. But that would be for him a good situation, in my opinion, because you already got the closer in Brunson. And for me, Giannis is a much better fit for Brunson than Cat is for Brunson, in my opinion, because of the defensive presence that Giannis will bring, and he can carry the load consistently throughout the game and allow Brunson to close. That's kind of how I see that dynamic working. But I think that may be the Spurs just wouldn't be fair. Like, come on, man. Like Twin Towers times 10 all over again. That wouldn't even be fair. So I don't even want to see that for the league. That would just be overkill. That would be the most overkill, I think, since the Warriors when they got KD. Like, come on, bro. Go ahead.
If I'm Giannis, I would rather Spurs over somewhere like New York. Why? Spurs? Because you look at the contract situations. Obviously, if you go to New York, then they're going to be a top-heavy team still, even worse. And I don't think I would want to do that if I'm Giannis. Now, you look at the Spurs, we're talking about a guy in Wemby who he's not on a big contract yet, a huge contract yet.
Good point.
So, you might have a little bit more wiggle room to spread a little bit more money around and get some depth and get some pieces that fit with what you got going on.
Right.
I think the Spurs is a better situation for them. Knowing these NBA players, though, it's probably not going to go like that, because NBA players, obviously, they get manipulated by agents, not realizing that those agents just want you to go where they can make the most money. You know what I'm saying? So they're pretty much told what to do ever since they're in school all the way up to this point, and they're still getting told what to do.
Yeah.
They don't think this way. And I think Giannis is either going to stay with Milwaukee, or there's a slight chance he might move on to a team that's like the Spurs or one of those type of teams.
That's scary hours, bro. It's quiet.
And then, interesting enough, with the Knicks, I seen the Knicks also are a team to look out for KD, which, like I said, it's, KD to me is, I say he's old and he's injury prone right now.
Mm-hmm. So
I would be all for it.
What would you, if you're the Knicks, what would you give up for KD? Like, is it a swap with Cat?
See, that's what I'm saying.
With KD?
It doesn't make you better if you do that. To me,
it doesn't, because now you got more wing guys.
Yeah,
you got another wing guy to go with the wings you already got. Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. Like, it's just kind of a repeat to me as far as fit. I like his ability to get in the post, and he likes the 3-ball, but he's pretty effective in the paint too, as far as drawing fouls. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, getting teams in the penalty. So I don't think that makes any sense. The Knicks don't make any sense to me for KD. It's too much of a repeat with what they already have, unless they're moving some of those guys out, like a Bridges and an Anunoby, and then they're trying to, get a sniper or something like that. It just depends. It just depends on what they're trying to do.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting offseason.
It is. It's
another team to talk about, obviously, in the Eastern Conference that we have to continue to deal with, Boston. Hold on, let me correct that. Boston. Is that a team that is finished? You know what I'm saying? When you look at what happened with Jason Tatum, Achilles injury is rolling the dice. You don't know how he's going to come back. You have humongous contracts over there between him and like I said, Brown is overpaid in a lot of people's eyesight.
Yeah.
They say that they don't want. They already we're talking about a team that's in the second apron of a luxury tax situation over there. They got to release some guys. Some guys got to go. And according to today, what I saw, they don't want to move off of guys like Derek White and some of the names that we've seen attached to the Pistons.
Yeah. Me and Eric talked about that at length, bro. Man, you would have had fun with that one for sure.
Yeah, we but they got to do something over there. You know what I'm saying? And to me, the logical thing is listen to those conversations about Jaylen Brown over there. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with it, because something got to shake. You can't trade Tatum, obviously. And
that's kind of where I'm at, bro. Because so to answer your question, are they finished? If you mean, are they done winning championships? I think yes. I think the answer to that is yes. I think they were perfectly constructed around their superstar, who's a superstar, to win a championship. And while I do think these types of injuries are, ones you can come back from, especially with modern technology, it's different now, right? So I think he can make a full recovery or a 90% recovery and be pretty, almost the guy he was or the guy he was before he went down. But when he gets back, the team is going to look different. And to me, that's going to be the biggest thing is he going to be able to adapt to a new team? We just talked about these guys playing together. Is Jaylen Brown going to be there? Is Derek White going to be there? Is KP going to be there? Is Hal Horford going to be there? The leaders of this team? Probably not. So is he going to be able to adapt and take that next jump and be that guy 100% on and off the court to lead these guys to a championship on his back? That to me is the biggest question. If they can do that, if they can find the right guys, because it seems like he needs a very specific type of guys around him to win, to be successful, which is cool. But you got to find the right guys to put around him. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. So I say no. I do think they're finished as far as winning championships.
I would say this. My personal question with Jason Tatum is he mentally tough enough to come back from Achilles injury? Because this entire time he's been on that Boston team, and in moments in big games, and especially in the playoffs, we've questioned over and over his mental toughness. You have to be mentally tough to come back from an injury like that.
That's true.
I truly do question that, and that's where I'm at. When it comes to Boston being finished as far as winning championships. I truly believe that some team is going to take a swing and for the fences and try to get Brown off that team. I think it's time. I think it's finally time to split the two because of the situation. So, that's something.
They got one.
Yeah. You got one. It's you grew it organically, but you're not going to be the dynasty that you thought you were going to be.
Right.
Unfortunately, it took a little bit too long for y'all to get there.
Yeah.
And now injuries are starting to occur, and you're at that funky spot right now.
And that's the thing. Like when they first started, when they really first, I think wasn't he in the conference finals as a rookie?
Yeah. Right.
And I think JB was already there. Jaylen Brown was already there. So you got to think those guys began peaking, or not peaking, but they began elevating early while they're on their rookie deals. You know what I mean? Now that these guys are becoming more accomplished and established, they don't want to let them go, which is why they were willing to go into the second apron because they see this team can win. Yeah. But now that we're here, you know, the bill always comes due, in the words of Dr. Strange. So it's just like, I think that's what's happening. And it's like you said, they were knocking at the door from his rookie season till now, and they only got one. And not only in the, I mean, winning one is hard, right? But you would have hoped to, kind of like what we say with our Eastern Conference Finals in a row in 2002 through 08, like we only got one, that kind of thing. To where it's like, you wish you could have gotten more in that window because you were knocking at the door pretty much every year. So I feel you on that.
All right. So with that said, it's a certain situation, a certain word that you just brung up. We're talking about the apron, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the luxury tax. Do you see Tom Gores as a guy willing to do that? Willing to go into that luxury tax? Because we're talking about a guy that got rid of Monty Williams and didn't blink twice.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about a guy that's been throwing the money out there and he's been trying. Even though a lot of fans give him a lot of flack, he's been trying. He's been keeping his word. I'm willing to spend money in order to get us back to where we need to be.
I agree.
So, you know, like I said, do you see us doing something like that?
Honestly, I could see him doing that. I know a lot of fans feel like he's, you know, not plugged into the team the way they would like him to be, and I understand that, right? I wholeheartedly understand it. There are, you know, worse GMs and there are better GMs or owners when it comes to their hands-on approach or how much you want to be involved or at the games and all these different things. But like you said, he's pretty much kept his word as far as what he wants to do. And he's pretty much put his money where his mouth is. I think that once he sees the success that these guys are bringing and are attaining, I think that will encourage him to do kind of like the Boston team, like the Boston situation.
Mm-hmm.
You saw them from a young age continue to build and build and build, and you see the success and the attention that's coming to Detroit and the money flow that's coming in, right? As a result of it, over a sustained period, I think it's like, yeah, I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it. Mm-hmm. And so I think, you know, because he does want to, he said he want to bring a championship here, that'll be the time to show it.
Yeah, that'll
be the time to show it. And like you said, great point. If he can eat, you know, $78 million and fire a coach just to walk away, you know, or just pay a guy to walk away, if you can do that, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to put that money forward when we're actually winning. So I think 100% it's going to be results based. I think, right? Obviously, but I think if and when these guys show that they can be a championship level team a couple years or a year or two down the road, I think absolutely he would do that because he's shown that he wants to win a championship. He's shown it.
Yeah. All right, Chad.
What do you think?
I think he's definitely. I can see him being one to do that.
Yeah.
Like I say, he's been taking shots since he's been here. He's been taking shots, even though they haven't went right all the time. He's been taking shots.
Mm-hmm.
He's about, you know, he puts his money where his mouth is. I'll say that.
Facts.
But whether he's hands on or not, some people appreciate a owner that's not so hands on with the team.
Yeah.
He's hands on where he needs to be. Put the money behind the guys that you have in charge. He holds those guys to a standard, and he wants them to do their job.
Right.
So,
facts.
I'm fine with that.
I like this. Tom on a Blake Griffin. Yeah, we going over luxury tax.
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
If he wants it, he seems to be a guy to go get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, even though the Monty thing turned out bad, they wanted him. They put the money where the mouth is, and they went and got him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and I give him credit for eating it.
Yeah, and then
people might say it's just a drop in the bucket. Still, bro, nobody wants to give away money. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he made it that quickly, I respect that. I definitely respect that. Quick question for you before we move on. I'm just seeing some interesting thoughts in here from some of our commenters. I think if Ivy didn't get hurt, we beat the Knicks. Thoughts on that?
I said that.
You did say that.
I said that. Even Ivy, we had Ivy or Stu. I think we get over the Knicks.
Or that's the thing. Either one of them.
Yep.
Either one of them.
I think he put that. I think they put us over the top.
Question: did we beat Boston?
Boston, the team that I saw in the playoffs, we probably could have.
Yeah, I think we would have.
Yeah. That team, they didn't look like they were ready to play anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Pistons would have got on them, man.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. We're getting some good questions in here. We're going to try to get as many as we can.
Keep bringing them, y'all. Keep bringing them.
Yeah, if we miss it, just repost it. Repost it. So let's see what we got. Do you guys think the Pistons should extend J.I. in during this offseason or next offseason? Are you saying either or, like this or next, or are you just saying in general? If you're saying in general, I say absolutely.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, it's no rush to do it, but yes.
Yes. 100%. 20-25 mil in that ballpark. Like I said before, guys, from a fan's perspective, we'll move on. GM perspective, owner perspective, all that stuff. From their perspective, the freak injury, the blood clot, all things that are very, very catastrophic and can be dangerous. As far as from a cap situation, may end up helping the Pistons down the road. I call it the Steph Curry syndrome. How he kept hurting his ankles, turning his ankles. He didn't have to sign a major deal because it was like, is this dude even healthy?
Mm-hmm.
And that ended up with them being able to be able to get all these different guys to add to the squad, strengthen numbers. There you go, because of that. So I think these types of things may end up working in everybody's favor because we'll be able to keep guys here, hopefully at maybe a discounted price in a sense, as far as not being able to sign these guys, having to sign these guys to the max right away because of those things. So just something to keep in mind. But I definitely would keep both of those guys 100%. No doubt about it. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Totally agree. It's not even a thought for me.
Yeah,
like I said, and I don't know who comes up with these numbers as far as a lot of the fans, but they just think we're gonna have to pay, the house, the car, and the dog to keep these guys around. Listen, if the time is right and the situation is right, go ahead and do it. Obviously, You see the trajectory of these guys. Probably sure the Pistons are well aware of that. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to happen at some point, and it's going to happen at the right time. Just let Trajan do his thing, and he'll take care of that.
Yep, 100%, 100%. I saw a comment, a starting five here. Is this something you wanted to get to?
Oh,
as far as a topic, what's up?
Deuce, we lost them. No.
Go ahead.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know where you went for a second.
I hit the back button on accident.
Oh, okay.
I'm good. My bad.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Man, I like this start lineup. I will still have to switch it with. I still got to switch. I got to switch Thompson with Tobias at 3. That's just me personally. I just have to.
Let's talk about that, bro. Let's talk about it.
I would, like I said, I would keep it with Thompson. I would keep it situational basketball.
Okay.
If I need him to defend somebody in a situation, fine. But him just flat out starting every game, I just seen what that can do. I don't want that, bro.
Okay, but look though. Okay, so real quick, 2 things. I'm not mad at you. First thing is, I feel you on that. I don't like having to do the matchup based starting 5. I like the continuity of having these guys out there game to game to game. Like we're versatile enough to not have to make a change, like the Thunder did unexpectedly. Didn't make any sense, but like I kind of like just keeping. That's just me. I see what you're saying.
No, I don't want to switch the starting lineup. I want to keep the starting lineup with Tobias, but I want to say if we having trouble with a certain player, then that's where you're looking at the bench early to bring Asar. I just want Asar off the bench right now at this point in his career.
Okay,
simply because of he's right now he's a crutch offense.
But so I feel you on that. But my thing is this, bro, because me and you, we agreed on this. This is part of the reason why we were trying to get people to chill on Jaden, was the fact that they didn't play together one game. They didn't start one game last year. So I think a lot of the ball handling responsibility they were trying to give Asar to take pressure off of Cade is sliding to J.I. So now Asar can really just be a roamer. He can really play off ball. He can really cut to the hoop when there's a breakdown in the defense or somebody helps. Like I think Jaden alone is going to make life so much easier for Asar because he's not going to have to do all the things that he was asked to do because Jaden wasn't there. That's just my take. I just want to see how that looks.
You will start Thompson. And so you're going to keep Tobias on the roster?
Yeah. I'm saying in that situation, I would start him. It's not likely because the contract is dumb. You know how that works.
That's what I'm saying. The money.
Okay. From that standpoint, yeah. But I'm just saying, like strictly basketball, I kind of want to keep a start because we all talk about fast starts, getting off to good starts, setting the tone defensively. I love, and Tobias has shown a lot of growth defensively.
He can give you a quick, you know what I'm saying? He can give you a quick jolt at the beginning of the games. Like I said, Tobias is on. Like I said,
can he guard threes though? I don't know if he can guard threes anymore, bro. It might be a little too quick for him.
Can they guard him?
That's true.
Can they guard him? Can
that's true.
Guard him?
That's
I still feel like he's better at 3 because he's a 3. That's what he is.
Older though, he's slower. He lost a step defensively, like laterally. I'm watching him. It's taking him longer to recover. Like how many closeouts? And go ahead.
How many dominant 3s do we still have in this league?
Okay.
Like that's really dominant.
Right. KD, JT, Luka, Kawhi, still dominant when healthy.
Shoot, about
Trey Murphy next year?
I was about to say about 3 or 4 of them guys only going to give you about 40 games next season. Probably.
True. And that's kind of why I'm cool with Asar though. I'm kind of cool with him at the 3. Like I don't know, bro. And I feel like his offense won't be lost because it's gonna be more opportunities for like I'm looking for Jaden to get into the 20-point range next season. He's taking some of Asar's shots. He's taking some. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna have more volume. He's gonna make that jump, in my opinion, next season. I'm not concerned at all about Asar if Jaden is playing, bro. And that's why it's so weird to me to see so many people who like Asar want to see Jaden get moved because he'll make the game so much easier for him to do what he does best until he adds to his game. In my opinion, go ahead.
At this at the 2-guard spot, I'm not trying to move anybody on this team. I don't even understand the fan base half the time when they come up with these ideas, bro. The only thing I'm doing is adding something at that forward position.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you get lucky enough to where you can take a swing at a high profile player, then fine. I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, I don't even understand the logic of wanting to move Ivy. I really don't.
It's like everybody has to find a scapegoat. There's always going to be a scapegoat. I mean, you ever seen the same thing about Chet when he was injured? And he came back this year with with a vengeance. So it's always going to be that conversation. Well, it has to be something. It's got to be something. And I just think he was just caught in a crossfire because of the injury. It's like I didn't hear those same people talking about how good he was playing before he got hurt.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like the short-term memory for me is crazy.
It's man.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So I said before, a lot of people are going to owe him an apology next season.
Mm-hmm. Just like it was this season at the beginning of this season. They were quiet.
Yes.
Quiet.
Yeah, it was quiet, bro. It was ridiculously quiet. So yeah, that's why I can't wait for, training camp, summer league, just to get back into the flow of things. So that I'm looking forward to that period for sure. For sure.
Which brings me to my last topic. And again, chat, make sure you guys put your final questions in the chat if you want us to answer it towards the end of the show. Simple and plain.
Naz. To me, Myles is the center. He's a center. Yeah. We already have a center, right? And yeah, go ahead.
I think you see the rumor because you're starting to see some of these teams going with the too big situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the NBA is going back to itself in all ways, shape, fashion, and forms. And Myles being a guy who can stretch the floor, especially from the 3-point line, I think that's the only reason you see these rumors floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Me, obviously, I'm more in the Naz camp, simply because of the player that he is in his profile and what he brings to the table. I think Myles was a guy that I wanted some years ago. I don't think I want him now.
Okay.
I want the younger guy. I want the up and coming guy. I want somebody who can grow with this core. So I will go Naz.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm 100% going Naz. I feel like his perimeter defense is much better than that of a Myles Turner.
Mm-hmm.
And I love when there's a switch defensively, everybody can stay home. We saw last year with Cade when Stu was on the perimeter guard, shutting him down. Cade's like this. Like, he's not about to score. I love when we can switch comfortably. And I feel like Naz allows you to switch comfortably. He can guard guards out there. He can stay in front. He can contest. You know what I'm saying? And against guys like Cat, he's not going to get out-muscled. Cat's going to score, but it's going to be much tougher because he's just a bigger body and he's long. 7'3" wingspan. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. And we even see the Pacers having to do the same thing with Myles. Is when they played the Knicks, Myles couldn't stay in front of Cat. They had to put Siakam on him the same way we had to put Tobias on him. You know what I mean? So it'll be the same problem all over again against a guy like Cat. So give me a guy who can guard out there. Give me a guy who's sort of a tweener between power forward and center. The perfect tweener who can play either position, can stretch the floor, can rebound, can move, and the ball doesn't stick to him. He moves the basketball. He's always moving the basketball. He catches it, he makes a move, or he's moving it and then moving himself. Continuous motion. I just love the way he played. The way he plays the game fits the Pistons style of basketball as far as defensively and offensively, getting out and running, getting good. And I think Cade, everybody will benefit from a guy like him. You know, I see a lot of too big action with him and JD. You know, off the catch. I see a lot of that. I see Cade finding him open. I just see so much with a guy like that. He can do so much to kind of bring this team together on both ends. It's the no-brainer for me. It's Naz and Naz. That's it.
Yeah, that's definitely a no-brainer. Like I said, just the mentality along of the person. I just prefer Naz. I don't need nobody wearing pink Chewbacca suits with person. I'm good on Myles Turner.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah,
same way.
Damian Antonio, man. My question is Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Wings. Who brings the city to the next championship first? I got to go with the Tigers.
I was going to say that, bro. It could be as early as this year, too.
Yes. I got to go with the Tigers, man. You know, I've been watching the Tigers every single game. I put a video out that I was going to start covering the Tigers. And you know, hey, I am going to start covering the Tigers, even though I haven't had the chance to this week.
I got some homework to do, too. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely am going to cover the Tigers, man. They have the best chance. They have that team is very deep and is built correctly.
And they got pitching, bro.
Yeah, and they got pitching, and they got some money to spend too.
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
We are back. Detroit is back, bro.
Yeah.
All four of our teams are respectable. Wings, you know, need a little help. Come on, Wings. Make it a big four. But they just won again.
Yeah,
you know,
and I'm glad
won again.
It's been seesaw with them. It's been win, lose for them for the last week. So
yeah.
But man, like I said, the Tigers they're in position right now to do that. And I'm gonna have to go with them, bro.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like it's a great call, man. And it's just out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, but because they had a great run last year. And a lot of people were saying, was that just a fluke? You know what I mean? Just a time taking advantage of the opportunity or what? But they shown that this is sustainable. And they look serious, man. They look serious. 24K Mind says the Wolverines real quick too. Don't forget the Wolverines.
I think it's going to take them at least 2 years. You know, I said Bryce just got there. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take them about 2 years. They got some more building to do.
I got to get my Wolverines tip too. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, I am one of the few content creators that probably will say this. Mm-hmm. But I don't think the Detroit Lions are going to win the Super Bowl.
You said that.
Don't. At this current state of where they are and what they've done so far, and looking at that schedule, I just don't believe that they're going to win it. You have Hutch coming back from an injury, and I think the expectations are going to be too high from him. And you also have a Lynn McNeil who's going to miss about half of the year. You have a rookie who hasn't even played in camp because he's already having injury issues.
Yeah.
I don't think they have enough, unless J-Mo turns into who I think he's going to be and just trumps everything. But I don't think the roster has enough to withstand that beast of a schedule and for the Lions to go that stretch and make it to the Super Bowl in the playoffs.
Losing right now doesn't help either.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like the window was this past year and the year before. Especially the year before. I felt like that was the year. Sneaky pick. We were right there. Yeah, there was no reason we shouldn't have won that game. So that to me was the best. I won't say they won't, But it's going to be much tougher now. That was the best opportunity with the guys you had on the rookie deals. Nothing to really worry about as far as your cap situation. Like, that was the best time to go get it. Best time to go get it. And I think now teams have had a chance to scout you for a couple years. They know you a lot more. Sometimes you can't stop what's coming anyway, but they have a familiarity with you now. Everybody is gunning for the Lions now. You're going to get their best game. Everybody's best game, you're getting it. So, yeah, I think the window, the path to least resistance was 2 years ago and last year. So hopefully we can get it done. We'll see.
Yeah, you had an opportunity to pour things over the top with a certain amount of moves. You didn't do it. So now it's the hard way, and I don't think we can withstand the injuries during the hard way. And yes, Damian, I do think he's suffering from his own arrogance simply because of the success he's had in the draft. He's putting too many chips in his own bag now. And a lot of the fan base, they have that pumped out chest and that boastfulness too. And it's going to be a rude awakening for them. Once we have to go into that period where we got to kind of shake things up again and reach back into the bag. But
right.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit too arrogant with himself as far as his success. You have to be humble through the entire process. You have to. You got to be humble every single year as a GM. You cannot go off of what you did the previous year or the year before that because the NFL changes every single year. That's how fast it is in the NFL. A team that didn't look like they can win the Super Bowl can turn around in 1 year and be a Super Bowl contender.
That's facts.
That's just how it is in the NFL. And I know a lot of Lions fans, they're not used to that because they're not used to a winning team. We just got here. And I expect them to act the way that they are. But if you've been a fan of football and you've been watching these other franchises do it, you understand what's happening right now.
That's that real, man.
Real talk.
That's the real. I feel like that was the opportunity, man. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I'm going to hold out hope. I know you're the Lions guru, so I ain't going to fight you on that one. But quick question for you. Way too early question for next season. Got two. How many games do the Pistons win next year?
Oh, shit. We definitely going to be in, I would say, the mid to upper 50s, I believe, next year.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Mid to upper 50s. Oof.
Yeah, mid to upper 50s. I think the Pistons are going to be outright a top 4 team next season.
Yeah. For sure. Okay. I just thought about it. I'm gonna say 50 on the nose. I'm gonna say 50 and 32. They won 44 this year, which is insane. After going 0-4 to start the season, which is really insane.
Yeah.
Just shows you the kind of run they went on. And that's why I kind of see why you would go that way. It's gonna depend on what happens this offseason, obviously. But assuming we make a move that helps our team, I'm gonna say 50 on the nose. I'm gonna say because I do think that the East is wide open, but I do think there are some teams getting better. And I think it's going to take some time to get the reintegration process too. We're getting Jaden back into the lineup, right? I've been telling fans that too. Don't expect him to just pop on the court and be apex Jaden Ivey like he was before he went down. It's going to take a little minute for him to get his legs under him and all those different things, and to get familiar with himself, and then get familiar with his teammates playing with Asar, like we mentioned. So I'm gonna say 50 on the nose. I think they're gonna have a strong close to the season, kind of like how they had this year, though. I do see that.
My prediction is based off of Trajan Langren and the energy I get from him. I think he's going to take advantage of that money that we've been saving up, and I think he's going to use it. And who that's going to be on, I think is going to be the right guy for the team. And I think that's what's going to push us to this team in the East to that's why you see when the media starts jumping on something ahead of time, it's because they see what's coming. You know what I'm saying? That's how that's their job. That's what they're directed to do.
Right.
And I think they can see the same thing that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's you have money, you have an organically built core of young guys. What's stopping you from being a top 3 team in the East next season if you make the right moves?
Okay. Yeah. So real quick, who do you, first of all, Sean, shout out to you. He said, I want to argue, but King was closer than I was this year. King was closer than everybody was this year, y'all. He was the only one I heard saying 40 plus, period. Nobody else was saying. I said 35. I think the consensus around, Pistons Twitter was like 30, right?
Yeah,
as far as majority. But
it wasn't even that. It was like 25 to 28.
I'm trying to give him credit, but you were right. That was, and yeah, okay. But yeah, so like, I definitely think that's possible. I'm not gonna argue with him either, y'all. Because he won. We had a little bet and he was closer, so he won. So I'm done betting with him. But I definitely do see that in the future, bro. I do think next year is a perfect opportunity. So I wanted to ask you, like, who do you have in those top? Like, who was in that top 4 in chat? Who was in the top 4 in the East for next season? Because obviously we're gonna be there. Well, I won't say obviously, but the Pacers, in my opinion, are definitely gonna be there.
Yeah, Knicks, Pistons, Pacers are
Pistons, Pacers.
all in there
Cleveland?
And maybe I don't even know, man, because Cleveland got some issues going on internally right now. So, like I said, a lot of these teams just ain't gonna look the same next season.
Darius Garland, he's out next. I think it's 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, it's just not looking good for some of these franchises. Some of them gonna have to blow some things up, and when they don't want to.
Yeah,
Philly is a team that's done. They're finished.
Right.
I don't know, man. You know, like I said, this offseason could be very interesting because I'm probably sure a lot of these players are like, listen, man, look at where this team is going. I got to get out of here.
Right.
So, you know, I kind of believe Shams on that. So,
that's true. Yeah. That's a good point as far as with Giannis. Okay, I see
Orlando. That's what I was looking for.
Orlando. Sean,
watch out for.
PD, good pick.
Thank you.
Good pick. They need some more offense, though.
They do.
Other than Paolo, they don't really have. I mean, Franz is not consistent. He's very talented, but I don't know if he's that secondary guy. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. I think they got to add another piece. Defensively, they're ridiculous. Defensively, they're dogs. Overzealous at times, obviously, but yeah, they definitely are a team to watch for. I could see them being that 4 team. Yeah, Garland's gonna be out. He's having surgery.
Yeah,
he's having surgery. And before the surgery, there was already whispers about him. Yeah. He was being made available by the Cavs.
And another thing is Donovan Mitchell is another year and another notch of olderness to Donovan Mitchell, who can't stay healthy himself. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't think you can win a championship with Donovan Mitchell as a number 1.
Nope.
I just don't. And that's not a slight to him. But I don't know, bro. I think it's really hard with guys. What is 6'2", 6'3"? It's hard to have that guy be your number 1. I mean, think about how many times in NBA history a guy 6'2" or 6, has been the best player on a team that won a championship. Isaiah Thomas and I'll wait. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't happen. Even Iverson couldn't get over the hump. So it's just like, I just don't see that for him. I don't think he needs another guy, and not a Darius Garland, but another guy if he wants to have any chance. Go ahead.
Another thing for Cleveland, you're not going to outbig everybody next season. Teams are about to get some bigs this year.
Right.
So you're not going to outbig everybody either. So like I said, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough road for them.
Yeah. Shout out to my dog, Will. It's definitely going to be tough, bro. Devon says Pistons window is open. They have to just make the right move. Exactly. And that's why we're saying we're relying on Trajan to get it done, because he's already proven that he can. We saw what he did as soon as he got here, hit the ground running, making moves. And like we said, he hasn't missed. He hasn't missed yet. Quick question for you. Somebody said earlier, I just thought about it. Can Lindy Waters replace THJ? Your thoughts on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He can. Lindy Waters can shoot, bro. He can shoot. He can legit shoot the ball. He'd probably be a lot more consistent if you ask me. Like I said, experience is one thing though with TXJ. Obviously, I'm not voting to get him out of here, but it depends on what he wants. Yeah, how much money he wants, and at the same time, like I said, the consistency is big for the Pistons.
Yep,
you got a cheaper option with this younger bull right here. Obviously, I'm gonna do that, but it depends on THJ what you're asking for.
Yeah, I do think THJ at this stage is the more defensively sound player as far as knowing where to be, not just one-on-one defense, but as far as rotations. Helping, knowing when to hedge. Like, I think he just understands the game of basketball better. Maybe it's because he's been around longer.
Yeah, he's a vet.
He's a vet, right? But I do think Lindy Waters can as early as next season get there. I just think, like you said, he needs more opportunity. He didn't really get, and it's hard to really catch a rhythm as a shooter when you don't really get a consistent opportunity. So I think him knowing he's going to get minutes if they're there will help him. And I think there's more to his game too than he's shown so far. I've seen some little clips of him with Golden State just doing things with the ball. and it's just like in making very high IQ plays. Like he's a good player, so I do think he can replace him as early as next year. I really do. I think he's not going to come out the gate with the same consistency that THJ had as far as offensive flow and things like that. But I do think he has a role in this team, and I think he can be that guy.
I need these finals to hurry up and be over with, man, because we need to get rolling. Obviously, the draft is one thing. I'm not even looking forward to the draft. I don't care about
Speaking
the
of
draft
which,
at all. Right. But Summer League, man, because one of the names that we keep forgetting that's on the roster, obviously, Bobby Clement. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I ain't forget. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, his growth is important too, man, because like I said, obviously you're going to get to a point where some guys going to have to leave. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be something up under the telescope, the microscope. I mean, this summer is his growth and his development and how far he can go and how far he's come going into training camp. Because, like I said, that's another big that can stretch the floor and make plays. You see what I'm saying? So
absolutely. I don't know. Yeah, I'm focused on the same two guys for Summer League I was focused on last year. Bobby Clement and Dennis Jenkins. Those two guys are probably going to show out again in Summer League again. And it's just Summer League, but I'm just looking forward to seeing those guys play again. And I do think that Bobby Clement, we've said it since before last year started, bro. Like I have a lot of confidence in what he can become. He's not there yet, but he's got too much raw ability, bro. That brain power that he has, that you could just see it. He understands how to play the game, bro. He just gets it, and so that's what I'm looking forward to seeing is if he'll have a role and how that will determine what Trajan does at that spot, because that will kind of tell us the level of confidence that he may have in a guy like Bobby Clement. If we go and add another depth piece at power forward, maybe he don't think he's ready. I think he is. I don't think it's really a question. I've seen enough. So I cannot wait to see him play next season.
Shout out to Eric Williams, man. Thanks for the donation. Listen, Cleveland needs to give Imani Bates a shot. They don't. Listen, Imani Bates needs to give himself a shot because his persona, the way he carry himself, and his belief, is the reason where he is. You know what I'm saying? As far as outside of the NBA right now. If Imani
immensely
Bates,
talented, man.
Immensely talented offensively.
Yes,
but if he changes his thought, his mind, his mindset, and say, I'm going to listen to what these coaches tell me to do. I'm not going to go out here and just be a shot chucker. I'm going to actually try on defense. Then maybe you might find yourself on the NBA roster because any team can use offensive prowess like he has, man. But at the same time, his mentality is the only reason where he is right now. His mentality coming into the league on what he's not going to do. Like I say, y'all really look that stuff up, man. Imani Bates is something else. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, he can score, he can shoot. You know what I'm saying? But ain't no team finna let him walk in the door shooting 50 shots a game.
Yeah, agreed.
You got to be able to do other stuff to get yourself on the basketball court. That's so true. He's gonna have to humble thyself, just like all of these other young guys, and do what these teams are asking him to do. Period.
I will say this: I watched him with the Crews this past season at Wayne State, and I was sitting courtside, and I was just watching him, and I did see. One thing that worried me was I saw him taking plays off defensively. That was the only thing I was like, because he was getting buckets, bro. It looked easy for him. It looked like child's play as far as him being able to score the basketball. But at the NBA level, there's a lot more guys like that.
Yeah.
And those guys can also strap up on defense. So you're right. I think that's really the only thing is the defensive side of the basketball and him having the right mentality to always start at that end and let everything else come to you on the offensive end. So I agree with you, bro. I really, I hope he gets there because I like him as a player. I like him offensively. I like what he can do. Great scorer, big body. Got to get stronger, right? But definitely has a lot of ability. So hopefully he can get there. Man.
Yeah, hopefully he can, man. Like I said, his mindset just got to change. You got to do a little bit of growing up. You can't come in here into the league with a Jalen Green mentality and you ain't get drafted where Jalen Green did. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
So that's just what it is. You see Houston want to get rid of Jalen Green anyway.
Can we just talk about for a second the 2021 redraft and how different it wouldn't be for us? Bro, like, remember all the talk about Cade? The first year, second year, the injury,
the fan base,
how low he was in the redraft. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I'm saying the fan base was 50 and the front office was supposed to be 50-50, is what I heard.
That's what Jalen Green said.
Yeah, right. Like, come on, bro.
Man, yeah,
it was obvious who we should have took.
Yeah,
we took him.
And that conversation once again is over because there was a lot of chatter about Cade shouldn't have went first, and you don't hear that anymore. You know, All NBA, All Star, leading his team to the playoffs, 30+ win change from last season, like increase from last, like that chatter's gone. We as Detroit Pistons fans, we knew it all along. Most of us did. Some crazy out there, but we knew. And now everybody else. I just wanted to shout him out for staying the course, not jumping off the boat, sticking to the work, keeping his head down, and look at him now.
Yep.
And look at where those other guys are. You know, Jalen Green, who went second, is looking to be moved off of. So we got the right guy. If anybody had any doubts at this point,
they was arguing hard, man. Boy, I can go back to some of them videos and screenshot them comments because they was coming after it. Boy,
man, listen,
you don't know what you're talking about. Jalen Green better, like,
bro.
Man.
Look, imagine this, and this is never gonna happen. Knock on wood, knock on metal, knock on iron, everything. But look at this. Imagine that.
Yep.
They would love that, wouldn't they?
Yep. Definitely would.
Man, you saw how Asar was with Cade. Imagine yeah. Too bad, Houston. Y'all had your chance. But yeah, man. Definitely glad that we are where we are right now with this team. Anything else you wanted to get to tonight? I wanted to ask you this real quick. In chat, you guys, I was thinking about this the other day. So you guys, and this is for those who remember the Eastern Conference Finals runs that we had. The 6 times in a row, 02 to 08, I think. Yeah, 02 to 08, 03 to 08. So we got to the finals twice, right? Won one, lost one. The years that we didn't get to the finals, do you think we would have beaten the team in the West? So 2003 versus the Nets. Do we beat the Spurs in the finals? I say no.
No.
Yep. That was before Sheed, right? So I say no to that one. We had Okor. He was great, but having Okor and Sheed was much better. Yeah. So I say no because the Nets, I think they lost in 6 to the Spurs. So yeah, I don't think we would have beat them that year. 04 we won. 05 we lost. 06 had we beat the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. Do we beat the Dallas Mavericks?
That's tough, man, because Dirk was on one during that time.
See what I'm saying? Dirk and Sheed would have been crazy. Dirk and Ben would have been crazy.
But I was just about to say, Ben and Dirk would have been interesting, man, because Ben changes things. He changes a lot in that conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. And then just from the point guard spot. Oh, see
what I'm saying? Jason Terry's getting barbecue and chicken.
Yeah,
wasn't he there?
We would have won that series, bro.
In 06, see what I'm saying? We'd have beat them. Yeah. I think we'd have beat them.
I think we would have won. Just based off the matchups, I think we would have won.
I do too, bro. Josh Howard and all them guys, Marquise Daniels, we would have been cooking them, bro. I'm sorry.
Man, Chauncey would kill Steve. Man, what?
Nah, yeah. If you remember what he was doing to Steve Nash in Phoenix?
You're right.
Man, what? Steve Nash don't play no defense. Chauncey was eating him alive in those 2 games they would play a season.
Boy, big guard.
Yeah. He physical, bro. That would have been fun. That would have been fun to see. We would have beat them in 06, bro. We'd have got a redemption. Couldn't get past D-Wade. All right. 07. If we would have beat the Cavs, shoulda beat the Cavs in 07, do we beat the Spurs in the finals?
I think I don't know, man, because I think our Pistons team is a little too old at that point.
I say no.
I say no.
Yeah. I say no. Because Ben was gone. You know what I mean? In 05, he was there. That's prime
And
Ben
like I
still.
said, the reason why Cleveland got there because the age was already showing with the Pistons, and plus obviously we would have lost.
You know what I'm saying? Nazir Muhammad, Jason Maxiell, guys who ain't got a chance against Bron. You know what I mean? Like Ben would have had to try, and he would have done a respectable job. You know, he wouldn't have been no 25 points in a row in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? That wouldn't happen if Ben was there. So yeah, I'm with you. Wouldn't have been no Tayshaun jumping out the way last. Like nah, it wouldn't have been any of that. Okay, so 2008. If we beat the Celtics, do we beat the Lakers?
Like I said, I just
with Kobe and Powell.
By that time, I just think that team was too old.
I agree.
They're just too old, man.
I agree. So the only thing that we're saying that we agree on is that basically we probably would have beat the Mavs in 06.
Probably, yeah.
I think we would have.
Looking at that lineup, yeah, I just think so.
You know what I'm saying?
Defensively, I just feel like we would have been a better matchup against them.
Yeah.
Than what they faced.
Yeah, I think Ben would have been able to really neutralize Dirk in that series. His physicality, his toughness, and then having Sheed still there.
And I'm not just talking, y'all, especially some of y'all younger cats. Go look at some of them if you can find them. Look at some of the matchups with Dirk Nowitzki when he was in the league at that time and Ben Wallace.
Yeah.
Ben Wallace could defend Dirk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't shutting him down all the way, but he can defend him though.
He's quick enough.
That's why I'm saying that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just something I was thinking about. But yes. Here I go down the rabbit hole again of woulda, coulda, shoulda with those Pistons teams. Can't help it. But yeah, man, that's all I got, man. Anything else before I go into a slump again? Talking about this team?
No, I think we done touched everything that you can touch right now as far as all the topics that's going around the league. But you know, we're gonna keep our eyes open so everybody, you know, make sure you guys are looking for us when these news reports come out. Yeah. After the finals, it's gonna get really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. So we'll have a lot to talk about. So I hope you guys look forward to that because we definitely do look forward to bringing it to you.
Last thing, did you give your series pick for the finals?
Yeah.
What'd you say? You said Pacers and how many?
Pacers in 6.
Ooh. Wow. Okay. They're gonna win that home. Okay. I'm gonna go Thunder in 7. Thunder in 7. I'm gonna stick to it. I said at the beginning of the series, I'm gonna stick to it. We'll see. But yeah, I just want to get that out there. All right. Yeah, man.
So
I'm ready to get out here.
With that said, man, we appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming and watching today. Make sure you guys hit that like button and to subscribe. We got a lot to talk about after these finals. We got a lot to talk about. Keep your ears out there. Social media. If you're on Twitter, make sure you're following us both on Twitter. If you're on Instagram, make sure you're following us on Instagram. Because we're going to be posting a lot, man, because there's going to be a tornado happening as soon as we get past these finals. So with that said, it's been a great show. Appreciate you for being here, Deuce.
Yes, sir.
I pestered him until we got on this show because I missed the last couple.
Man, he was itching, bro. You was itching. I'm telling you, we would have had if you was here, we would have turned all the way up. If you was here with us for evening, that'd have been fun. That'd have been fun. Next time, though.
Yeah, but with that said, we appreciate you guys for coming by, man, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
And when you knock me down, I'm getting back up. Cause when I step on the floor, you know your time's up. I'm on my way up and I'm not gonna stop. We headed straight to the top, and I know I gotta face it.